name is Catherine Butler. This is Movement for Life. We are doing a very beginning Pilates class. My reasoning for doing this is a good introduction to anybody who has not practiced Pilates, can be introduced to some of the basic Pilates moves. It's also really good for those who are advanced in practicing Pilates to come back to the basics and make sure that they're doing the movements correctly. So we're going to begin. I want to teach, we do the series of 5 laying down on the mat all the time. The series of 5 is 5 exercises that when we're laying on the mat target every single muscle in the abdominals. We should see at least one of those exercises in every Pilates class that we do, but I want to teach them to us in a standing position. So we're going to begin with the double bent leg stretch, which begins with feet hip distance apart. Let's begin by just warming up the toes. Lift the toes and then set the toes down. Soften the knees. Inhale, reach arms overhead, and then we're going to bend the knees and bring the hands behind the knees. So it's a lift and reach behind the legs. Lift, drop, lift, drop. Double bent leg stretch. Now, right from the beginning, you want to find a good breathing pattern. Breath is the best way to make that mind-body connection. I want to show you what this looks like sideways. We're pushing hips back like we're in a squat. Push hips back. Now stay here. We're going to do a single bent leg stretch. Reach arms overhead, palms facing each other. Pull the right knee in, reach for the right shin. Set it down, reach arms overhead. Left leg, pull the shin, reach overhead. Notice how good of a warm-up this is doing this series of 5 standing. Warms up the hips, the joints, the knees, shoulders. And continue to breathe. Single straight leg stretch. Arms overhead, just lift and lower. Lift, lower, lift, lower. Continue with the leg movement. Reach arms out to the side. Palms facing the floor. Let me hear your breath. Double straight leg stretch. Arms reach overhead. We swan dive down towards the floor. Inhale, lift. Lifting hips towards the ceiling. So here's the side view. Swan dive forward. We're really lifting and lengthening the hips towards the ceiling. The crisscross, arms reach overhead, opposite elbow to knee, and switch, and switch, switch, switch. We're setting the foot down with control, toe ball heel. Control is one of the 6 key principles of Pilates. Breath is another one of the 6 key principles of Pilates. Last one. That's our series of 5. Now I'm going to teach you a standing saw, which we will also do seated. We reach opposite pinky finger towards opposite toe. Pinky toe. The opposite hand reaches up towards the ceiling, and then we lift. Switch sides. Reach, switch, reach, switch. There's a couple different variations to the standing saw. Right now we have straight legs. We're going to take it to a side lunge. So we're bending the knee of the toe we're reaching for, side lunge. One leg straight, one knee bent. We're still reaching the opposite arm towards the ceiling. Reach, 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 reach. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Beautiful job. We're going to come to a seated position. We're going to work through boat position today. So I'm going to twist just slightly so that you can see what's happening in both my legs and my torso. So from here, knees are bent, feet on the mat. Hands behind the knees. Tuck the tailbone, lean back halfway. Once we're leaning back, pull belly buttons in tighter. Pull it in so tight. And then from here, release the hands. Then we're going to open the arms out to a capital T. Close. As we lift, we reach the arms overhead. Lean back. Open. Close, lift, lean back. So we're in rowing position with the feet connected to the floor. Each time we lift, we're lengthening the spine as tall as we can. Lift. Lower back, stay here. Open the right arm. Close. Open the left arm. Close. Reach the right arm overhead. Reach the left arm overhead. Open right arm. Open left arm. Right arm overhead. Left arm overhead. Then sit up and take a quick break. We're going to go back to that one more time. Arms over legs. Lean back halfway. Tuck the tailbone. Pull belly buttons in tight. Continue to breathe. This time, left arm opens first, then right arm, left arm overhead, right arm overhead, left arm opens, right arm opens, left arm overhead, right arm overhead, and sit tall. Quick break. Okay, going back to that same position. Palms facing each other. Tuck the tailbone, lean back halfway. Pull belly buttons in so tight. Reach the right arm overhead. Reach the left arm forward. Switch. 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 4, 3, 2, 1, and sit tall. Now I want to introduce boat. Boat position is when feet are off the floor. So if that doesn't work for you and you're a beginner, stay in rowing position with feet connected. Bring the feet together. It's going to be easier to work them together connected. Palms facing each other. Lean back halfway. Pull belly buttons in tight. Disconnect to the feet. So we're in boat position. Then from here, touch the toes and lift. So we have movement in the lower body. One of the methods of Pilates is something is moving while everything else holds still. The only thing moving is the toes touching the floor and lifting. Everything else holding still. There's control. Again, one of the 6 key principles of Pilates is control. Hold here. Now reach the arms overhead and lower. Toes can be touching, feet can be connected, or you can remain in boat. It's up to you. I just want to make sure that we introduce boat position. Let's do one more where we reach and sit tall. Beautiful job. Okay, we're going to be laying down on the mat, going through some traditional Pilates moves. We're going to begin with the roll up. Now I'm going to teach the roll up with the correct muscle memory. Then you're going to notice the roll up in different progressions in different Pilates classes. but this is the best beginner's progression. It teaches really good muscle memory. Now, this was the first exercise after I had my 4th baby that once I could do this, I knew I had strong abdominals. So, place hands behind the legs. That is going to be the support. In a roll-up, you don't want any momentum, no jerking. So we're going to begin to roll back. We tuck tailbone. We lower lower back, middle back, upper back, neck, head. And oftentimes, when we're not holding the back of the legs, we would bring arms overhead. So then we begin to lift the arms, but place the hands behind the legs for support so we don't jerk up. Peel up, lifting head, neck, shoulders, middle back, lower back, until we sit tall. So if you notice that when your hands are disconnected, that you're jerking up through the sticky spot, you want to place hands back behind the legs and come back to the basics. We tuck the tailbone, lower back, middle back, upper back, neck, head. Then we peel up, head, neck, shoulders, middle back, lower back, sit tall. Beautiful job. Tuck tailbone, lower down, lower back, middle back, upper back, neck, head. Peel off, head, neck, shoulders. There's that sticky spot right there. Sit tall. Let's do that one more time. I want to make sure you really feel that sticky spot. If you feel ready, you can begin to disconnect your hands as we lower down, and then you can bring hands overhead. Peel up, lifting arms, head, neck, shoulders. There's the sticky spot. You don't want to swing up on that sticky spot. And then we're going to lower all the way down, and we're going to stay down. Excellent. Another traditional Pilates move is called the hundreds. I'm going to show you a couple different feet positions. Joseph Pilates taught in the hundreds to inhale for 5 hand presses, exhale for 5 hand presses, and you repeat that series 10 times for 100 hand presses. Excuse me. We're going to begin with feet connected to the floor, reaching hands past hips, lift head, neck, shoulders. The palms are facing the floor, and we press. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. Exhale. Continue with the breath. Now, if you can handle a little bit more, you can disconnect your feet, 90-degree angle under the knees. If you can handle a little bit more, lengthen legs to the ceiling. If you can handle more, lower legs to the diagonal. And pull it in. That was 100 hand presses. Look side to side, taking any tension out of your head or your neck. The next movement we're going to is a single leg corkscrew. We're going to place the bottom of the left foot on the floor. We're going to lengthen the right leg up to the ceiling, and we're going to reach arms out to a capital T. We're going to take a little tiny inward circle with the right leg. Initiate the movement from the center of the core, little tiny corkscrew. Take that circle a little bigger, a little bigger, a little bigger, as big as you can, and stop at the top. Little tiny outward corkscrew. Now stabilize the left leg. Don't let it move. It's a little tiny outward circle. A little bigger, a little bit bigger. Initiate the movement from the center. Make it as big as you can. Make sure it's a circle, not an oval. And stop at the top. Bend that knee, set that foot down. Lift the left knee, lengthen the left leg. A little tiny inward circle. Initiate the movement from the center and make it a little bit bigger. Bring awareness to abdominals. Make it a little bit bigger. a little bigger. As big as you can. Don't cut off the edges. And stop at the top. Little tiny outward circle. Initiate the movement from the abdominals. Make it a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger. As big as you can. Giant outward corkscrew. And pull that knee into the chest. Placing both feet on the floor, bring hands down by hips. We're going to work on the bridge. Begin to bridge the hips up. Drop halfway and lift. Lower, lift. Drop, lift. Drop, lift. Lower, lift. Lower, lift. Lower, lift. One more time. Lift, hold, high. Now from here, we're going to disconnect the toes if you can, which is going to put some work into the shins. We're going to pulse higher, lift, lift. We pulse for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the hips, bring the knees into the chest. We're going to begin this series of 5. We did this standing already. Now we're going to do it engaging abdominal muscles. This will work every single muscle in the abdominals in these 5 exercises. Knees into the chest, curl up, lifting head, neck, shoulders. Now lengthen legs out to the diagonal, reach arms overhead, circle around and pull it in. As we lengthen legs, we need to keep a neutral spine, so we're not allowing our spine to arch up. Lengthen, pull in. Lengthen, pull in. We're lengthening to strengthen rectus abdominis. We typically shorten rectus abdominis by doing crunches. So Pilates helps to train long, lean muscles. 2 more. Last one. Now give yourself a quick break before we go to the second. The second of the series is the single bent leg stretch. One knee to the chest, the other leg hovers over the floor. We lift head, neck, shoulders, then we lift higher, 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 and we keep the torso lifted to switch the legs. This is again rectus abdominis, but we've also added some obliques as we're working the legs separately. And we're going to go straight to the third of the series, which is the single straight leg stretch. Continue to breathe. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the head, both legs lengthen up to the ceiling. We're going now to the double straight leg stretch. You can do this with hands under hips. Let me show you what that would look like. The head would stay down and the legs would lower and lift. That's for transverse abdominis, the lower tummy muscle, or if you want to engage rectus abdominis as well, place the hands gently behind the head. We're not going to pull up on the back of the head. We're going to use abdominals to lift head, neck, shoulders, and the hands are just there to support the head. Elbows are open. The legs push down and lift. Push, lift. Push, lift. Push down and lift. Push down, lift, lower, lift. Keep a neutral spine. The spine should not be arching up off of the mat. It needs to stay neutral. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Now bring the knees into the chest, lower the head. The final one is the crisscross. One knee to the chest, the opposite leg lengthens over the floor. We twist opposite elbow to the knee, and then we switch, and this targets obliques. And let's speed it up. Switch, 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 switch. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Going to the windmill. 90-degree angle under the knees. Arms open to a capital T. The knees drop towards the right. We keep the left shoulder blade on the mat, And then we lift up and over, drop the knees to the left. Up and over. One of the variations to the windmill is to do this with straight legs. Today I'm just teaching the basics. So we're going to keep the knees bent to drop and lift, drop and lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower, lift. Let's do 2 more. Last one. Excellent. Set the feet on the floor. We're going to do the roll up to get up to a seated position. Place hands behind the legs. Curl up, lifting head, neck, shoulders, middle back, lower back, sit tall. Beautiful job. We are coming to a seated position. So Pilates does train us to stand a little taller, to have a lengthened spine. So we're going to have legs lengthened only as far as is comfortable for you. But we need to be able to keep the spine long. So if you need to soften the knees to keep the spine straight, then soften the knees. That's more important. Posture is more important than flexibility in this exercise. This is called the saw. We did this standing. Arms are over legs. The spine is long. Now I want you to imagine chopsticks between the top of your hip bone and then underneath your rib cage that is really lifting the spine. Arms in a V over legs. We're going to do a single twist towards the left. Center, single twist to the right. Center, single twist. Now the name saw came from the visualization of sawing off your pinky toe. So we're going to do a single twist and then we're going to drop pinky finger towards pinky toe. Imagine we're sawing it off. Now you might not be able to get there, but reach to somewhere on the outside of that right leg. The opposite hand reaches behind. We lift and center. It's a terrible name. Drop down, but we will never forget the movement or why it's called the saw. Lift, center, single twist, saw. Lift, center, single twist, saw. Notice that opposite arm reaching behind, single twist, saw. Lift, keep both hips down at all times. Both gluteals stay down. So we're not lifting one hip to get further. It's about doing the movements correctly. Let's do a double twist. Twist, twist, keep the spine long. Twist, twist, center. Twist, twist, center. Twist, twist, center. Double twist with a saw. Lift, center, double twist with a saw. Lift, center, double twist and saw. Lift, center, double twist, saw. Lift and center. Excellent. We're going to come up working through a side plank with both knees bent. The bottom arm is straight and we're not slouching into the shoulder, but we're lifting. Side planks are used a lot in Pilates. Lots of different variations to the side plank. I just want to teach the most basic. So we're going to have the top hand at the waistline so that you can feel what happens through the waistline, through those obliques. We're going to lift the hips, lower the hips, lift and lower, lift. Really good to come back to the basics. It helps to really deepen the mind-body connection when we are doing the most simple form of the movement, reconnecting to what it should feel like, and then even from the exterior, feeling it in the fingertips. Now, keep the hips lifted. We're just gonna drop halfway and lift. So it's like a little pulse. Drop halfway, lift. Drop halfway, lift. Drop halfway, lift. One more time, drop halfway, lift. Lengthen the top leg, keep the hips lifted. We're gonna reach the top arm to the ceiling. The top arm and leg lift, they meet at the top. Lift, lift, lift. We have 2 more. Lift, 1 more, lift, and lower those hips. Switching sides, both knees are bent. The bottom arm is strong, wrist under elbow, elbow under shoulder, shoulder strong, not a slouch. Top hand at the waistline, begin to lift those hips and lower. Lift and lower. I can feel everything in that waistline tighten up as I lift those hips. Lift. One more time. Lift and hold high. It's the little pulse where we drop and lift. Drop halfway, lift. Drop halfway, lift. Drop, lift. 2 more. Last one. Now lengthen the top leg, reach the top arm to the ceiling, arm and leg meet. It's a lift to touch. Lift and touch. Lift, touch. 2 more. Last one. Beautiful job, lower those hips. Another very traditional Pilates move is called the bird dog. It's also from yoga. It's a hands and knees position. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders. We reach the right arm forward and the left toe back. So it's opposite arm from leg. We lift to tabletop. We keep the hips square, shoulders square. It's a drop and lift. Drop, lift. This is for back strength. Everything along the back side of the body. 2 more. Last one. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. Just a quick rest. This is called a piece of heaven in Pilates. If you're familiar with yoga, it's called a child's pose. We have the other side to do, so we're going to come back to the hands and knees position. This time it's left arm forward, right leg back. Lift, 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 lift. Hold. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring hands and knees down, push hips back to a piece of heaven. Final exercise today is for back strength. We've done a lot of abdominals, so we want to make sure that we target the back. So we're going to be laying flat on our tummies. We don't do this if we're pregnant. So if you're pregnant, at this point you can go ahead and turn this off, unless you want to wait around for the stretch. Or you can go back to bird dog and work on those back strengthening exercises. But from here, we're going to reach arms overhead, and we lift arms and we lift the heart. So think about the heart center, lifting and lowering. Lift, lower. Lift, lower, lift and hold high. Circle the arms around, lift higher. Circle forward. Circle back to lift higher, circle forward. We're thinking about lifting the heart. Circle forward. Lift the heart. Circle forward. Lift and hold. Now lift toes, knees, thighs. Reach arms overhead. Lower. Lift. Circle arms. Reach forward. Drop. Lift. Circle back. Circle forward. Drop. Lift. Circle back. Circle forward. Lower. One more time. Circle back, circle forward, and lower. Beautiful job today. We're going to stay on our tummies to stretch. We're going to bend our left knee. We're going to reach back with our left hand. We're going to rest our head in our right hand. This will lengthen the quadricep on that left side. Allow breathing to slow down. Relax the muscles in the face, the cheeks, the jaw, the forehead. We tend to take our tension in our face. And if you're a jaw clencher, we tend to clench our jaws if we're tense. Relax everything. Switching sides. Rest your head on your left hand, reach back with your right hand. for your right toe. Now we want to make sure we stretch abdominals. We're going to press into the mat with the elbows, and we're going to lift the top of the head towards the ceiling. If you want a deeper stretch, you can lift even higher. And that will stretch the entire front of the torso, up the abdominals. You can even increase the stretch by lifting hips. Do what works best for your body today. And then push hips back to a piece of heaven or a child's pose. We're going to thread the right arm underneath the left. We're going to lift hips and drop our right ear towards the floor. We're bringing the right shoulder down to the floor. The hips need to be in the air. And then we switch sides. Come up onto our knees, bring hands behind the back, open up the chest, clasp the hands together so they're connected, they're threaded together, and then push the fist away from the torso, really opening up that chest. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love that we can allow our boundaries to melt away through digital contact. So thank you for joining me in my home today. Message me if you have any questions about what we have been practicing, what we are doing, and release. Let's take a deep breath in. Inhale, lift. Bring the hands together. Exhale, bring the hands to the forehead, to the heart, to the navel. Namaste. Have a beautiful